Yo, hey everybody, it's me, Buster Green. Okay, how you doing today? I'm popping in real quick to set the record straight and also comment on the slew of rumors about Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity that are just kind of circling the internet today. And we have no new Maya updates today, thank God, because the other day someone asked me if I could just do a drama-free video about the Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity news instead of like the disaster we've been stuck in. And I was like, you know what? Fine. That sounds okay to me. I should do that. Except I can't really do that because we know almost nothing about the series currently. They've really just announced it, and that's kind of it. So here's quickly all we do know. Super Sentai is definitely canceled. It's maybe not canceled forever. I personally think they're just taking a cool-off break because Go Juger has had such a scandalous year. And part of me thinks that maybe Super Sentai will come back in a few years after some time passes, maybe just enough time to void out Hasbro's Power Rangers contract. That might be the long-term strategy here. But yeah, it's been confirmed that Super Sentai is ending. Everyone in Japan knows it. A lot of people beyond Japan are in deep denial about it. And it seems that the decision was made back in October, likely reacting to all the crazy scandals that have gone down with Go Juger this year. Because prior to October, there were rumors it was going to continue into 2026, but that seems to not be happening. Anyway, meanwhile, Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity is definitely happening, and it's been totally confirmed, like at least twice. So meanwhile, trending online yesterday in Japan, there was this list of interesting rumors about exactly what we could expect in Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. And I want to say for various reasons, I think most of this list is bullshit. I think this is totally just some garbage made up by some nerds, some goobers, because it doesn't sound like Space Sheriff Gavan at all. It doesn't sound like a reboot. It sounds like just some total nonsense randomness. But maybe one or two of these concepts are a grain of truth in this complete mess. So I want to say 9 out of 10 of these are probably factually incorrect. It just seems like a wish list of what nerds would want in a reboot of the series. Although it does seem to be based on an earlier rumor that even though this is on paper a Gavan reboot, it's going to steal some of the popular and basic concepts from Super Sentai for the purpose of continuing Super Sentai's themes while not actually being Super Sentai on paper so they can release it internationally. I think if they were going to go this route, though, I don't think they should have called it a Gavan reboot. I think if they were going to fully make it like a Metal Heroes Sentai hybrid, they should have like gone with a different title. So because it's a Gavan reboot, I'm expecting a Gavan reboot. And this list does not sound like a Gavan reboot. But because this is a slow news day and enough people were needling me to do something and to try and make a Gavan update, I'm going to cover this because this is literally all we got right now.
この番組はよらんのスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Alright, so here's the first page of the rumors. So it's going to be called Universe Heroes, which is confirmed. Universe Heroes equals Metal Hero plus Super Sentai. Super Sentai not dead, just merging Metal Heroes as Universe Heroes. I guess that kind of checks out, but we'll see. Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity is the first series of the Universe Heroes. That's also true. We know for a fact that's 100% true. Then we go into information about Gavan Infinity. So the first thing, Gavan will transform with a card and a magic wand. I don't know. The card sounds like Kamen Rider Ryuki or like Kamen Rider Decade. The magic wand sounds a little bit like Ultraman. Gavan never had either of these things in the past, but it does make sense that Toei would add in some like more toetic elements because they like selling those toys and all that. And yeah, a card game around Gavan could be cool. But again, I think these rumors are bullshit, so if none of this happens, I won't be that shocked. All right, next up, Gavan is the red hero with a color similar to Tatsunoko heroes like Gatchaman. I'm not sure what to take of this. If Gavan is red, that makes no sense to me because red Gavan is basically just Sharavan. So honestly, I don't see that as being true. But it does mention Gatchaman, so maybe they mean he'd be white with red accents because that's what I think of when I think of Gatchaman. I could theoretically see Gavan being white with red accents. That would actually make sense for a Super Gavan, but Gavan being entirely red like the Red Ranger, no way. That's definitely not true. Or at least I don't think that's true. If that's true, I'll eat my hat. Anyway, next up, Gavan has a red salamander mecha, which can combine with the wand into a dragon. Now that sounds logical because the original Gavan had a dragon. I think his name was Goldiran, something like that. I remember the song. It's like Golu, 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 Goldiran. Anyway, let's see what's next. Gavan can become giant and combine with other mecha like Gridman. Nah, that doesn't sound true to me either, because that, again, it sounds like they're just aping concepts out of Ultraman, and that sounds too derivative of Ultraman, so I really don't think that would ever happen. And again, that is kind of Gridman's whole thing. I mean, I guess it could happen, but I still don't think that's real. All right, on to the next page of the rumor mill. Other character, White Witch, a Sentai-like hero. It would be cool if the female partner could transform like that. Most of the Metal Heroes had female partners. I want to say only really Spielbahn's partner could transform, which is why I remember her, because she ended up being the female character in VR Troopers. Yeah, ZZ confirms that the dragon's name was Dolgiran. That's what I said. Anyway, Gavan Infinity and White Witch is the hero in the series. That sounds pretty typical for a Metal Hero series to have a typical male and female main character. That sounds completely logical. I could buy that. Then it says there's a blue, black, and a green character, and it's not known what they are. If these three characters are human heroes or robots. So, okay. Then it says the black character is a rival and a wizard. Okay. So we have the White Witch and the Black Wizard. I don't know if I buy this. It also says there's going to be a Harry Potter-like magic school with magic students. I don't think they would include that in a Space Sheriff Detective season, especially because most of the Space Sheriff seasons and series were mostly about the law and space laws and Gavan enforcing space laws on Earth. So I don't see that there would be a Harry Potter magic school on the show. That just sounds insane. The next rumor is that the theme of the show is catching monsters like Gotchard catched Shemi. I could see Space Sheriff Gavan collecting monsters. I could easily see that being added as a gimmick because he is a space sheriff. The old Gavan would always kill the monsters, but if he arrests them and collects them, that would be cool to me. I'm not against that. I just don't believe it because this is a big pile of non-connected ideas, and I don't really see how this all flows together. Then the next part is that the gimmick item is cards with many different variants like Metal Heroes, Sentais, Mechas, weapons, attack cards, and more. This is again building on the rumor that Super Space Sheriff Gavan is going to have its own collectible card game, or maybe it's just going to have collectible cards to power up the collectible toys. I don't know what to say about this. If there is a card game, cool. If it's just for toys, I guess that's cool too. I don't know. ZZ says this sounds completely different. Sounds like Gatchaman crowds combined to the original Gatchaman. Yo, I love crowds. I wish I could talk about crowds some more. Finally, the last rumor is that the toy line and the mascots can combine with the wand to become a creature and can also combine with the heroes. That reminds me of the cassette beasts in that one Kamen Rider series. That was what was the Kamen Rider series with the drum and the Oni face? It wasn't a Gito. It was after a Gito. It was definitely an old Kamen Rider series. Yeah, by all accounts, Sentai is over. All right, I'm going to quick look at the comments, you guys, because that's all we had to discuss with the rumors here. But this sounds dubious to me. I guess it could be possible, but I want to believe that probably 9 out of 10 of these are just bogus. ZZ's here. ZZ says Gojuger was disappointed. Sentai is pretty much canned. Sentai is pretty much canned after the Maya incident and the descent into madness. Gavan was in Beast Morphers. Ironic. Sentai has been kind of silly lately. It would be cool if the Gokaigers team up with Gavan. ZZ's reacting to Gavan having magic and a magic wand. Yeah, none of that sounds right. I completely don't think that's true. That sounds too out there. Mr. Piuzzo asked who's going to write the show. We have no idea. He also welcomes Super Sentai and Metal Heroes into a combined cinematic universe. That's kind of funny. Hatena says the rival being a wizard is interesting. Hatena also says they hated Gotchard. Oh my god, please be good. And oh yeah, I forgot about Kamen Rider Hibiki. Yeah, just based on the way those rumors are phrased, if the gadgets turn into animals, that sounds like Hibiki. To me, anyway. Well, I guess that's the situation right now with the Gavan rumors. I do also want to say that usually around this time of year is when they announce the new Super Sentai show. And I want to point out that they're not announcing a new Super Sentai show. They're announcing Super Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. So that's another reason I think for sure Super Sentai is over. Because if it wasn't over, they'd be hyping the new series now. And instead of hyping the new series, they're hyping Gavan. So that's basically proof enough in my eyes that Gavan is replacing Super Sentai for any of the other doubters out there. All right, you guys be good, and let's hope we get some new disc animals.